Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're new to my channel, I welcome you all. I'm Aspie. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness, as well as sharing my life stories with Asperger's syndrome and the like. I'm here to try and advocate, educate you all, and mentor you into any form of support that I can, be it your mental health, general health, and the like. So if you're into any of these and you want to join me on the bandwagon as part of my YouTube family, feel free to do so by subscribing below, and while you're down there, turn on the notification bell, because I try to upload as much as I can on the daily. As well as saying this will just hopefully keep you up to date and for my nearest, and dearest videos in the future of what I may do and to share with you all. So it has been brought to my attention, as I said before, I was sharing quite short and brief, or wasn't short and brief, which I humbly apologise, about a very question someone was asking me about, does autistics tend to overthink too much or what have you. I answered that question, and in saying this is just a follow on based on anxiety and overthinking, because obviously this is just a heads up to, as we know, as I said earlier in that piece, in retrospect for that topic, that anxiety and overthinking goes hand in hand one way or another regardless of it all. And in saying this, that sometimes we need to realize what triggers it, what causes it, and everything else of us to ruminate and overthink. Sometimes it can be for the good or for the bad, regardless. But anxiety and overthinking can be both evil partners working in conjunction with each other for or against of what we're maybe thinking at the point of time. Even though I shared briefly in the last piece about me, how I go about my overthinking and how it affects me a little bit, but I'll hopefully bring more into that later on. But as we know, basically one of the horrible hallmarks of any type of anxiety disorder could be the tendency for us to overthink things, thinking things like, does she like me, what happened, and maybe in a relationship, if you had a fallout with your partner, why it happened and everything else. But sometimes we tend to not have the very answers to our everyday problems, regardless what it may be. As we know, when it comes down to our brain, it can be really anxious sometimes, or ourselves in our mental state can be really anxious, and then the brain, while being anxious, is hypervigilant, always on the lookout for anything that it will perceive to be dangerous or worrisome, regardless. And sometimes then the doubts and everything else starts creeping in, and in saying this, with the doubts and the insecurities that we feel, then the paranoia leads to this overthinking. I have been accused for many times in my life that I'm making problems where they aren't always there, and I feel like sometimes also in that some people accuse me of basically that, or not accuse me as such, but tend to say to me that some of the things that I may be thinking right now in my mindset may not always be 100% accurately true, regardless of what's going on around me. And in saying this, that basically that it's all in my head, and it's I'm just going crazy for no apparent reason, or whatever, that people may tend to address me as a crazy woman or whatever based on my everyday struggles, regardless. And I just feel sometimes that some people need to actually understand to what other people are going through, regardless, and hopefully be more empathetic and understanding, because despite our everyday mental health disorders or anything in general, I feel right now that people tend to just forget about us and just want to move on into the next row of whatever it may be. To me, indeed, I will agree that there are problems, or these are just problems in general. Why? Because as we know, sometimes with my anxiety, and I'm guessing for any one of you that suffers from anxiety may agree with me, it will cause me to overthink everything and anything that comes to play, be it if I'm in a relationship, be it if I'm in a job and whatnot. We tend to obviously, with my anxiety, however, it also makes us tend to overthink in everything in many different ways, and sometimes some of us may end up, as I said earlier in the piece, of autistics. For me, exactly, I ruminate on it sometimes, constantly thinking over and over again how to make things better and everything else, even if I don't have the right answers. As we know, sometimes, and the result of this, overthinking isn't usually helpful, whatever it may be. Okay, I'm going to talk quickly about ways anxiety causes overthinking. As we know, an effect of any type of anxiety is overthinking everything and any damn thing that comes our way, regardless, even if it's for the good or the bad, of what happens in our everyday life. There are some common themes to the way anxiety does cause us to overthink. However, perhaps it could be the generic list that will remind you of some specific racing thoughts you experienced and help you realize that you're not alone in this retrospect and overthinking everything because of that anxiety that's overtaking you. So, main ones are obsessing over what we should say, should have said, did, done, whatever, didn't say or do, common in the social anxiety realm when we're socializing with our friends. Sometimes the same there, sometimes if one of our friends are leaving for the good, we didn't have the chance to, say our farewells before they may be going overseas. Number 2, worrying incessantly of who we are and how we are measuring up to the world, which is common in social and performance anxiety because obviously in this day and age, as we know, that we tend to try and take our looks for granted or whatever, and sometimes we just feel that, we're being pressured to try to look a certain way, act a certain way, and everything else. Number 3, creating fearful what-if scenarios about things that could go wrong for ourselves, loved ones, and everyone else around us. This is common in the generalized anxiety disorders. Number 4, wild imagined results of our own wild imagined faults and inconsistencies. This relates to all anxiety disorders in that retrospect. Number 5, fear of having a panic attack in public and possibly thinking that you can't leave home because of it. This is the common panic disorder with or without these agoraphobias in place. Number 7, worrying about a multitude of obsessive thoughts, sometimes scary ones, and thinking about them constantly, which is your obsessive compulsive disorder, or just, as I said before, most of us autistics have the tendency to do repetitions and whatnot. Last but not least, overthinking, a tumbling chain of worries, vague thoughts, and specific thoughts. This again will roll into the all anxiety disorders. So the last but not least in this section I want to read out to you or share with you is the result of anxiety and overthinking. As you know, with anxiety, not only is these thoughts are more running through our brain set, but they're always running through our brains every day, non-stop, endlessly, and sometimes we need to find a way to stop this. You could imagine like a gerbil hooked up in an endless drip of energy drinks. They run around a circle in a wheel that they do, those little wheels that they run around in, sort of thing, in one place, in one direction, going absolutely nowhere, day in, day out, day and night, the wheel squeaks and everything else. Overthinking everything is a hard part of anxiety disorder. Overthinking everything creates more anxiety. This tip helps stop overthinking. Check it out. Anxiety and overthinking everything makes us both tired and wired. One result of the thinking too much that comes with anxiety is what we are often feeling physically and emotionally unwell. Having these same anxious messages run through our head everywhere we go does, however, takes its toll. Furthermore, though, another dangerous result of anxiety and overthinking everything is that we start to believe what we think, which is a sad reality. After all, if we think it, it's real, and if we think it constantly, it's very real, right? No. This is a trick that sometimes anxiety will play out on us. Anxiety causes overthinking, but with anxiety, these thoughts aren't always trustworthy. And in those advice from me to you as an Aspie, basically, you have the power and ability to interfere in the anxieties, overthinking everything. It's a process that involves many steps, however, but a step you can take right now to slow down that gerbil that's running around in that little weird Ferris wheel is to have something with you all around you to divert your attention rather than arguing your thoughts day in, day out, or obsessing over them over time. Gently shift your attention onto something else if you can, to cause some distraction once in a while, to snap out of it. Something neutral, something real. By thinking about something insignificant, you weaken anxiety's ability to cause you to overthink everything. Well, this quickly ends a real short brief video of anxiety and overthinking. Hope you really like this. Smash the like button, comment below. Feel free to share these videos around. Feel free to follow me on my social medias. Feel free to comment below. Feel free to also, if I haven't done so, if you suffer from anxiety and overthinking that plays into this part, how do you go about it? you know, and hopefully we can create a discussion board free from hopefully non-judgmental people. And on further ado, guys, thanks for your support, thanks for watching, do what you love what you do. Till next time, Aspie signing out, and I'll see you.